also about tax-wise. So if you, of course, handle your market like this or protect the market and, of course, everybody is afraid of that the market or the Chinese people don't accept licenses and innovations and rights on this. Of course, you will have, at the end of the game, you will have a problem, a trading problem. So if you don't comply with the rules, of course, then the US or Europe or others will say, okay, if you do it, we try to do the same. And that, in that case, Trump initiated the right things. Yeah? And of course, depending on your economical situation, you do things like this, like in China or wherever. Of course, you ignore property rights because you want to develop fast. Yeah? So because you don't want to develop everything by your own, you just steal the ideas and the property rights. And I remember Germany did this after the First World War. What we did is we bought machineries from England.
Yeah.
And then just built them identically. So we didn't take attention to property or intellectual property rights. We just rebuilt this stuff because we had no time to develop those things by our own. So we did
the
something.
Problem, the problem is today Trump says China steal the 5G technology from America. Things like that, which is quite stupid. If nowadays the technology are based on the innovation yourself. If you keep on stealing, it will always be this. It can be the best always, and I do think.
But we are not talking about technology. I mean, we talk about, at the end of the game, we talk about security and we talk about data.
Yeah.
And of course, everybody is keen about that data is not going everywhere. So same in Europe, we have a lot of discussions and regulations on the way against
Datenschutzrecht.
Yes, also against transfer data into the US and of course into China, which is more critical than any other thing. I mean, we have companies who can do this 5G like Ericsson and others, but they can't do everything. They don't have the capacity. For example, Ericsson, which is a basic Swedish company, you can't give any order to Ericsson right now. Of course, we have other things, but if we take order UI or whatever, of course, we need to be independent from any other stuff. We need to close the system. You know by yourself, the regulation you have in China against data security are totally different. Your society is absolutely transparent. And we have already enough transparency. I don't want to have more. I don't want to be controlled like crazy. So that is, of course, a good reason to say, okay, these technologies we do not accept. And every country has this. Some other countries say, no, we don't buy this from Germany, from UK, because we don't want to have this kind of technology or data import, transport, whatever, which we cannot control. This is depending on the society. But nevertheless, at the end, we don't need the technology. It only takes a bit longer, because of the companies are not ready to install everywhere. But I think we have to protect ourselves. It's logical.
Yeah, and because this pandemic, a lot of things, the whole Earth seems have a lot of different opinions, which is against the globalization.
Yeah,
and that's also a requirement that says we should protect ourselves first.
Yes, yeah, of course. But in general, I think everybody has to be careful with products, rights, property rights, intellectual rights, etc. And of course, I have no problem with states and organizations who tell, no, we don't sell these and these products to these and these states because we are afraid of their use, etc. So also the Germans, they don't sell everything to US. We don't sell everything to China because we are afraid of technology copying, etc., etc. It's the same. The US, they don't sell anything, or they don't sell some technology to us or whatever. So in a military environment, they're far, far, far away from the products we get or others get. So that is normal. It's the same with you. You don't export every military innovation, whatever. So that's life. That's the way we are in. So everybody is getting more and more afraid against the other. So the world becomes as it was before. More restriction, more egoism between the big players, Europe, China, US, whoever. So, and of course, the Western countries and US get more and more and more sensitive against China, and China against us. So everybody is going for its interest. The politicians, they don't care about life. They don't care about rights. They don't care about sources. They don't care.
Welcome to the real world.
Yeah. So they don't care. And the people itself, I think they are quite okay. But the structures of politicians, etc., these structures are dangerous, real dangerous. And of course we will have wars. Yeah, we will have wars, smaller wars. We will have probably a war because of Taiwan. We will have probably a war in the Japanese sea. We will probably have a war wherever. We will have wars in the future. That is obvious. If you look to the systems, it's obvious.
Yeah. That's the real world. Yeah. That's the real world.
You cannot prevent everything. And for me, it's clear there will be wars, small wars.
We also know that. We have a lot of discussion within our Chinese community that well, the pandemic caused the war between the China and American, or when will we take Taiwan? Because that's just a problem of time.
Yes, I mean that at the end it will be a political deal. Yeah.
Yes.
Because the point is always the same. if everybody goes back to the history and tells, this was mine before 100 years, 50 years before. If we say everything before 1945 was ours, we would take France, we would take Italy, we would take Norway, we would take Sweden, we would take Poland. Yeah, you cannot tell this was 100 years ago. This was, only because Chiang Kai-shek went to Taiwan, you cannot tell everybody, that's my. I mean, what will be in this world if everybody is looking in the past and telling, because of this is mine? Imagine what that means.
Well, that's a real difference, because maybe you don't know. Since 1945, the civil war within China was the battle between the communism government and the capitalism government.
Yeah.
But until now, the war isn't be ended. Like, we don't have any agreement between these two governments, which means just like the South Korea and the North Korea, the war can still going on without any statement. So,
but I think because of the paperwork, you cannot find an argument against, or it doesn't need a paper, to be realistic, to be human, to understand the case, and to be right in the decision. If people tell me because of there is no paperwork between us, I kill you. We didn't agree in a paper that I do not kill you because we didn't have an agreement, so I kill you. You don't need always an agreement or an official document signed by whatever. That is not the way we think, or that should be not the way we are actually have a discussion about those things.
Yes,
there are a lot of non-officially ended wars because there is a document missing. But it's not argument out reality. I'm sure we still have that we have a country which is not officially out of war with us. If we will have a look, probably there is a country which is still in war with us, and we don't know because there's a paperwork missing. But this is not the case. That's not this missing piece doesn't have any value. And as I say, you cannot go back into whatever a century and based on certain experiences, money transfers, etc. You cannot go back and just define any right to do this or this, this or this.
Yes, of course. The 20th century is already past. Humans no longer doing the things. We live in the 21st century, and we no longer did the things in the 20th century.
No, the point is that people don't care about each other. They don't care. They are not thinking in logical human ways. Like Taiwan, they tell, we don't have a peace agreement. It doesn't matter if you are an honorable person, if you are a normal human and want to best for everybody. You don't do this. Why? You don't do this. Why? And there is no need, just to refer to whatever it is missing. Yeah, look, if the French and the English suddenly say, we have the right of a Mongolian part of China because there isn't a peace agreement yet after we conquered, or the Japanese say, yeah, we conquered Shanghai and the environment, but we didn't have a peace contract yet. Imagine what happened in this world. It's the next world war. Everybody is claiming anything, whatever, however, wherever. It's all politic, it's all nonsense, it's all missing humanity, missing honorable, whatever. Look, Trump, this is what he's doing right now is
hitting people.
It's not human, it is stupid, it is,
He's destroying America now.
Now, what he is doing is actually, and that is a problem in democracy, he is using some regularities or non-regularities and weaknesses in a democracy. In a totalitarian, like in China or in Russia, it would never happen because you would close the door right now. But in these systems, which are so sensitive, these systems, they never thought that there is somebody coming like Trump to use every single opportunity and missing law and regulation here and there. It was like in Germany after the First World War, when we had a democracy, and Hitler was actually, what he was doing, it's a bit like Trump. He used every way around, every non-defined regulation, etc., to put himself and his organization, which is a bit similar to some armed supporters of Trump.
Yes.
Yeah, the SS and all of this. He used this inside power to actually influence the democracy. It was not controllable by the official policy army or the official organizations to defend. He became with his supporters more and more stronger. He did his own policy within the state. So he was using the flexibility and the freedom in a democracy system. Therefore, democracy is absolutely sensitive and dangerous. There is always a danger.
And even broken in America.
I wouldn't say broken, but it is, they have to think about how to probably restructure here and there and reduce the power of the president. Yeah. So I think they have to learn to change here and there. Yeah.
For sure. That's a political issue.
Absolutely. I hope they will change here and there to actually take power from the president back into the parliament.
Yes, where it belongs. Learn something from Trump.
So that is important. Yeah. Okay, so what else?
Well, we just talk about our business case just now, and seems I'm not sure is that already become our final exam, this project.
No.
Not yet.
No. This is not the final exam, but it is something which prepares you to this. You have to be able to structure such a paperwork, not only based on what I tell you or what you see in documents or in part of the books. You should have a deeper look inside, but you have to think about what is necessary from your point of view, having in a document or represented in a document. That is your task. You always have to think by yourself what is important where. Yeah. And the central is always the business plan, because the most important pieces of any idea and any business you want to step into are the figures. If you discuss with an investor, the first thing is, do you have a prototype? Do you have something to show? Do you have a plan about the cost structure? Do you know what your product costs? Show me what is the profit margin. So what do you earn with the product? That means the difference between costs and income, or costs against revenue. So that is the most important things you want to know. And the second is, how much money do you need? What for do you need the money? How long do you need the money? And when do you think you earn money? How is your revenue stream? And when are you going to break even? Yeah. So here, for example, you see here the venture guys, they mostly come in when they have the feeling, and also the banks, if there are banks going into these investments by debt funds, etc. When you have a break even, all the early guys here, angel investors, some venture capital funds, etc., they are in the very beginning. But at a certain point, when more organizations come in who are not able or who do not want to go into deeper risk, you have to show or be break even. So that is one of the major points. You have to show, when are you going to become break even? And if you see that you are not getting as much or not enough, making not enough revenue in a certain time frame with your costs you're actually producing, you have a problem, because then you need a longer time on this. Let's say this is a timeline. You probably make a break even here. And these guys have to finance more. Or you redefine your business plan and say, okay, I need to set up a different operation plan. I need to renew my organization plan. I need to have a lower management team, or I need to reduce a salary, or so then it starts where you reduce your investments and say, I need to go into more marketing, because I think when I go into more marketing expenses, I will reach break even earlier than expected. So this kind of discussion you have to go for in a team doing your homework. You have to discuss about those things. And then, of course, you have to discuss what is needed to define in the business plan, to represent in the business plan regarding the items, the costs, and the revenues, and where do I actually, when you go into a graph and you take the cost investments into a graph like this, and then you can say, okay, investment based on the figures of a business plan, and then it should develop like this. And then you say, okay, I have these findings out of the discussion into a business plan. Now I need to put this here into a basic document where I discuss and show the outcome of a business plan and tell, based on the marketing plan in the business plan, I have these and these and these activities, I have these and these and these outcomes which you describe in such a basic document. Yeah? For example, you say, we choose to have a pricing which is 25% above our competitors to get earlier into an break-even stage. But then you have to, of course, to define why I'm able to have a higher price than the competitor. So you can, of course, make a decision, but then you have to talk about why. There are a lot of decisions to make, and then you have your basic plan, and you talk about things you already did, but you didn't do it in the right way. Describe the business plan supported by figures and explaining why did you do this. And you have to have a projection of your costs, of your revenues. I don't know where we have a business plan, but I mean, about the business plan, I think you know enough. You just need to do this in a template. And I think I sent you also a template for a business plan to put the numbers in related to costs and revenues. Yeah. Then you have these things on a vertical, and then you allocate the costs into it. You have a discussion. And during this discussion, you make probably some notices here and there, and then you create this document.
And in our case, can we skip the technology plan?
Yeah, it depends on you. I mean, you are the guy, you know better than me. You are actually, you think within your plan. You have the view. It's up to you. It's up to you. You don't need to go for every single point. You don't need to do this. You decide. Okay. You say, oh no, this is not relevant for my first investors. This is not relevant. But you should have an answer why. If I ask you why didn't you mention this, or why didn't you explain this and this, you can say, because we don't think it is relevant, because no problem at all. You just should tell me why. Okay, got it. No. You don't need to do everything. This is less, I say, it is more or less complete structure, which is not always needed to be complete. Yeah. Here, you see, this is actually what you have to define. What is your document? The executive summary, table of content, and you can do your paper in the same order as a business plan. But thoughts, strategies, reasons why, based on figures in the business plan. Yeah. And here, 3, you have what you put into the document today, the data, the graphs about market share, etc. Yeah. You can refer to these figures into a text when you talk about your revenue expectations, about your target market volumes, and you have the graph at the end as an appendix. Doesn't need to. You can put the graph into the document, no problem. Yeah. Here is everything you would have, or you should have used to define your document and the business plan. Yeah. And you also can use this here, this book, and this logic here. Well, that's as a starting point. Yeah. This here is viability, is like, do I have a chance to survive? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's okay. Good. I would say we stop here and try to work on this again. Yeah, try to work on this again, and probably have a call with Ray and Xiao about this, to exchange information, to get more order in the basic concept paper based on the business plan, and always have in mind, be realistic. We will do it later after this class. Yeah, it is not a problem if you finally find out, oh my goodness, it takes very long until I will reach break even. Yeah, and then based on the document and the business plan, you create this presentation, which then finally summarizes everything and shows also very concentrated the decision you made. Yeah.
Yeah, I will told all these things to Ray and Zoe, which is Xiao.
Yeah. Okay, so any news, Chen, Aisin, about the homework, etc., and the actual dates connected with this, I will send you as soon as possible when I check the final dates with the with Fresenius. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Good. Okay. So have a nice. If you celebrate, have a nice Christmas.
Yeah.
Ah,
of course.
Here we are. Yang is back. At least she understands.
She's listening. She's listening.
Ah, she's listening. Okay. Have a nice Christmas if you celebrate. I don't know. Are you home?
I'm flying home in January 20th.
Ah, okay. Chen, are you celebrating Christmas?
Yes, of course. I'm here in Germany.
And I don't want to be too personal, but she have a party with her German friend, right?
Ah, okay, perfect.
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, so you see each other, Aisin and you.
Yeah, I have my own party.
Okay, good. All right, thank you very much, and have a nice holidays. And if you have questions, please write a mail, or we can have a session in between, no problem. And if you have a document, just send it to me. I will have a look at and give you some feedback. Otherwise, we will see us on the 7th of January. I think it's the 7th. Check. Yeah, it's the 7th of January. And until the 7th, please try to work on this paper. Yeah, that you have, that you present what we just talked about. All right. Take care.
Yeah.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Join the Christmas and see you in the next year.
See you next year. All right. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Bye, Chen.